Okay everyone, it's the start of a brand new week and it's a week that will see Celtic take on Banik Ostrava on Wednesday. It will also see Celtic return back to our home, Celtic Park, for the first time in a couple of months on Saturday. And who knows, maybe a transfer rumour or two as well, because it's gone a little bit quiet in that regard. Okay, so the team are still in Austria at their training camp in Bad Ehrlich, where they've been for a week now. They are coming to the end of their summer training camp, though. We will travel either tomorrow, possibly even early on Wednesday, over the border from Austria to the Czech Republic, or Czechia as people are calling it now, apparently. 3 hours or so northeast from Vienna to Ostrava, where we'll be playing Banik Ostrava on Wednesday night in a pretty big game for them. We'll touch more on that tomorrow, why it's a big occasion for them, and what Celtic and our players can expect on Wednesday night. News-wise though, since Saturday, the big confirmed story that we got through, I think possibly on Saturday, maybe even on Sunday, is that Ismaila Soro has departed Celtic, joining Portuguese top flight side Arouca on a season-long loan. Now, the key thing to consider with this, because Soro actually leaving on loan isn't a big story at all, but the fact that there's an option to buy included in this deal effectively, I think, signals the end of Soro's time at Celtic. He signed a 4.5-year contract when he joined the club back in January 2020, just before the world all went nuts for a couple of years. So he's still got a couple of years remaining on his Celtic contract. So I think ideally he goes over to the Portuguese top flight. He does quite well and is picked up by Arouca, or if not them, picked up by another club, and we get a little bit of money for him in a year's time. But I think the main thing right now is that he's off our books financially. He's also just, not hanging around training anymore. He clearly wasn't in Ange's plans. He's basically seen no game time since January. He wasn't even in the party that travelled over to Austria. So clearly not a player who Ange sees in a Celtic shirt going forward. And I think, again, just like several other players already this summer, and hopefully several more to come, or certainly a few more to come, it's just good to get them out of Celtic Park. They can further their careers, play a little bit more, and Celtic can get on without them in the meantime. Now, a story that I'd kind of missed over, several months anyway, is that Jonathan Afolabi has left the club. This is something that was always in the offing. He was another one who we kind of resigned ourselves to the fact that he was never going to make the breakthrough for us, but he has officially now left the club. He was out of contract this summer and he's away. I think he's on trial at Portsmouth now and is actually doing quite well for them. Scored and set up a goal in a friendly match for them as a trialist, so he may well end up at Portsmouth, which would seem like a pretty decent move for him, considering that he kind of failed quite badly in most of his loan moves that he went on from Celtic. Like, I think he was at Dunfermline, Ayr United, I think he was at Airdrie last season as well, and it didn't really work out. So going for that level to Portsmouth would seem to be quite decent for him, but it doesn't concern Celtic anymore. And his departure signals the end of, remember that kind of optimistic quadruple youngster, mainly Irish, all Irish apart from one, signing that we made probably about 3 years ago under Neil Lennon, when we brought in the players that we hoped would be the future of Celtic, and they've now all departed the club. 3 of them very unsuccessfully: Leo Connor, Luca Connell and Jonathan Afolabi, all Irish youngsters. I think it was very much hoped at the time that all 3 could become Celtic first team players. All 3 have now left the club permanently. And the 4th member, Jeremy Frimpong, had a far more successful time at the club, netted us, I think, upwards of 10 million. Was it 12 million, something like that, when he went to Bayer Leverkusen. And he's clearly going to have a very good career, judging from the way he's got on in Germany. But anyway, we move on. We do spend a lot of time on the channel talking about incomings. That's the exciting bit. What new names are we going to get in the door? So here's a wee reminder of what big names or relatively big names have departed Celtic already this summer. We know about the top two there, Tom Rogic and Nir Bitton. Bitton has of course now signed for Maccabi Tel Aviv. Tom Rogic is still to find a club. Vasilis Barkas, Liam Scales, Adam Montgomery and Ismaila Soro have all left on loan. Connor Hazard is still due to be out on loan in Finland with HJK Helsinki until January, and Karamoka Dembele is the other major player to have moved on to France at the end of his contract. So this is what Celtic are left with at the moment. We do these squad depth charts fairly frequently on the channel, and this is what it looks like at the moment. It's always tough to weigh this up, as there are players there like Shaw, Urhoghide, Bolingoli, who I don't think will play a part this season. But when you look through the positions, goalkeeper there, you can see the plan. We've got Hart there, has been a very good signing in nets. You've got someone like Scott Bain, who's clearly a decent deputy. We've brought in Ben Siegrist. I know some people think he is a future Celtic number one. I know equally at the bottom there, Toby Oluwayemi, some people think he's a future Celtic number one, so that's fine, tick that off. Right back, we know we're sorted there, two fantastic right backs. I don't think Urhoghide is going to see much game time. I don't even know if he's going to be around this season, to be honest. Centre back, we are probably one short, especially at the moment when Carl Starfelt is injured. You're probably looking at Stephen Welsh starting alongside Cameron Carter-Vickers for the next few weeks, certainly maybe even into the competitive stuff. We know a big question mark still hangs over Christopher Julian, and we think that Ange wants to bring in a centre back as well, so that's one to watch. Left back, obviously, Bolingoli added at the bottom. There's another guy who quite plainly isn't going to feature this season, but I think in Greg Taylor and Alexander Bernabe, we have pretty good options there now. Centre mid, again, there's a few names at the bottom who I don't think will feature much this season. Obviously, Celtic Player of the Year 22-23, James McCarthy is in there. Callum McGregor is of course going to be the key man. Big things expected of Idiguchi as well, and we know that Celtic want to sign another player in that position. It wasn't Vinicius Souza. Who will we look at now? And I think in the attacking areas, pretty strong. Right wing, Abada's going to be the main man again there. You would think, of course, Jota can play out in the right as well. Maida, Jota on the left. Perhaps Mikey Johnson can make an impact this season. We know about the attacking midfielders there. We're down one. There's no Tom Rogic, but I don't really sense the need to replace Tom Rogic. I think we signed Matt O'Reilly as Tom Rogic's replacement in January. Clever move from Celtic. Perhaps we are learning after all. Hatate and Turnbull, big options there as well. And up front, if you take a Yeti out of the equation, John Kenny has done quite well in pre-season so far, but I don't think he's going to be a player who's going to be our third choice striker this season. He may prove me wrong. If you add another player to supplement Furuhashi and Giacomakis, perhaps his surname is Larsson, then I think you're looking at a very strong Celtic squad. We know that things have gone pretty quiet with regards to transfer rumours at the moment. There is one player that we'll come on to in a wee minute, but it's not a move for right now and for this coming season in terms of the first team anyway. But I think Celtic are very much in control of this whole situation. We are still in a fabulous position when you consider what we've been like in recent years. The key things for me at the start of this window right away were to get a left back in. We've done that, and to sign up Carter-Vickers and Jota. We've done both of them as well. Siegrist has come in as well, which I think everyone would agree is a pretty decent signing. So I think, we're in a steady position at the moment. And I still think we'll get in what we need before the end of the window. So as much as fans, we want everything done yesterday, I think let's just all kind of remain calm. Ange has this under control and we're looking good. That's very much immediate transfer chat. In terms of one for the coming years, I just hinted at there, the name Dylan Reid has been mentioned in recent days. He is a 17-year-old St Mirren midfielder who hasn't actually made his proper breakthrough for St Mirren. I think he's played maybe 3 or 4 matches, but in terms of being a consistent St Mirren player, he's not there yet. But he is a Scotland under-17 international. He actually plays with a few current Celtic B team players in the international setup. The talk is that we're having chats with him now, having agreed a £125,000 fee with St Mirren to sign him. He is clearly someone who would go into our B team rather than our first team, but one who seems to be pretty highly rated anyway. Celtic have done this on occasion in the past. The one that springs out straight away is Tony Watt. We bought him again. I want to say Airdrie or Airdrieonians as they're known are popping up quite a lot. I'm sure we signed him from them for a decent amount. He obviously went on to do all right for us. One big moment, certainly paid back all that fee and more. So I think it's good to see Celtic looking at clearly highly talented players. 17 years old, you're going to be looking at him, certainly spending at least one season with the B team, but very highly rated. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Ange did kind of indirectly speak about that a little bit and certainly played down expectations with regards to Reid. He's not going to be a player coming into the first team this season, just to get that right out there. Ange also chatting about injuries, gave us a little bit of an update on that at the weekend. Anthony Ralston and Josip Juranovic both weren't included in the squad for the weekend game. And given that virtually everyone who is ever known Ange Postecoglou was included in the squad, there were certainly some questions about that. Ange has cleared it up though, saying that Ralston picked up a knock but should be back for the midweek game against Baník Ostrava. Juranovic is absolutely fine, but he had missed the start of training, and what Celtic want to do at the moment is give players a certain amount of time in training before they thrust them into an actual match. So you would expect Juranovic to get game time this midweek. Karl Starfelt is the other big one. He is still missing after his hamstring injury suffered for Sweden about 5 or 6 weeks ago. He should be back for the start of the competitive stuff. But as I said earlier, we are perhaps looking at Welsh Carter Vickers for now. Maybe that'll just act as a catalyst for us wanting to sign another striker. We'll have to wait and see. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Things are just going to continue to step up on the pitch. I think every upcoming friendly is going to be that little bit more intense. Certainly felt like that on Saturday. I think it's going to be very hostile on Wednesday. The game in Poland against Legia Warsaw is going to be very much the same. And the 2 games at Celtic Park are going to be good for the team as well. So I think it's a good pre-season programme we've got this year, as much as we're not playing against a real top team like we have in previous years. There's not a West Ham this time around. I think it's a good programme we've got, and hopefully we'll just continue to see everything scaling up over the next couple of weeks as we look ahead to the game against Aberdeen. So yeah, I think things are going to continue to get bigger and better, as Ange would say, and that goes for the channel as well. Maybe we will get a transfer rumour to get our teeth into in a video very soon. Maybe that will happen tomorrow. That's when I'll speak to you.